and then he goes to the bathroom. At the urinal, cut to just the top of someone's pants and the zipper being unzipped, and then the fear that you're like, this is anime. We don't know what's about to happen. Cuts to the urinal to just what is just a horse level stream of just urine blasting, annihilating the urinal. Like, it is spraying everywhere. It's flooding.
More, if I pulled out my garden hose, I couldn't get that much water coming out.
Impressed.
First of all, this was the only scene Allie, my partner, saw. She walked in on me watching this scene,
No.
and she, listening to her OC podcast, had to stop and say, "What are you watching?" She was like, "I knew this was like gonna be like a weird show, but this is the strangest thing I've ever seen."
What are your thoughts on an 11th generation businessman also being the ruler of an underground fighting ring? Do you think that is capitalism working as intended?
Most certainly. Oh, definitely. This is like Kaiba Corp going on right now, honestly. If it had a little more bravery. If this guy had more bravery, he would bring this ring to the forefront. Because Kaiba Corp, they just, banish people's souls all the time.
Am I supposed to be scared to attack?
Well, only if destroying an innocent soul concerns you.
Nah. As the president of a major corporation, I have to do that every day.
And when they do fight, it is hideous. We were talking about that in the last episode, but those CG fights, I don't know your opinion on it. I thought it looked like a bad Street Fighter gameplay. Like, it's
just like I said, everything is so two-dimensional. It's very jarring to all of a sudden have like three-dimensional characters in like a two-dimensional world. Like, I imagine it's akin to, Dr. Manhattan walking through time and space, having to interact with beings who are only taking up time. It's like all of a sudden these beings are just...
That would explain the respect that all of those martial artists just are like. They're just in awe of these fighters.
Well, maybe that's why their moves are so fast. It's because they're actually happening in a dimension they have no concept of.
They just blink and it's done. The determination to, first of all, not break when your hand gets cut off, but then to not break while your assailant goes on a monologue about the history of criminals and research and development funded by organized crime.
You see, the history of mankind has been one of unremitting forward progress. And that's why we have so many wonderful gadgets today. Science is continuously making things stronger. And for whom was it developed, this remarkable, almost magical wire? For magicians, perhaps, to help them deceive and baffle their audience. It's really quite extraordinary. An aramid carbon fiber titanium composite, used in body armor and space weapons.
And then there are a number of dudes who are just like ratchet strapping the Statue of Liberty back together, being like, okay, we gotta stop this thing from falling apart.
Can I read you the line after they did all of the work to save the Statue of Liberty?
Do it.
Thank you. Job well done. Your efforts have saved the Statue of Liberty from being destroyed. In a way, what you've done means more to the nation than any victory in the theater of battle.
Right. I mean, you know what? They're not wrong. We may as well treat them like the troops.
This November 11th, remember the real heroes. Who saved the Statue of Liberty from being punched to death by a death row inmate.
From the intro to the show, I assumed that there would be some boxing in it.
No.
But no.
Don't worry.
Not one mention of boxing.
If you wait till later in the season when Muhammad Ali shows up, but not yet.
That's a get for the show.
Yeah. They got him to voice act. Oh my god. Anyway, Spec, the master of holding his breath, loses by being choked. Which, to me, doesn't make any sense, because it should take 5 minutes for him to be choked out. But he gets choked out in like 20 seconds. So
He gets choked out by a man who can't hold his breath because he can't close his mouth. It's not possible.
that would be so difficult. Like, he'd have to do like the Home Alone face if he wanted to like hold his breath.
Oh, they should have him do that at some point.
What did you think of Yanagi?
I think he had too many gimmicks.
100%.
And I'm not sure if this is a normal thing with this show, but it certainly seems like they were just like, hey, they found a list of old cool weapons that were like just a little obscure, and we're like, okay, we're gonna include all of these. And then they got to this guy, and they had kind of given all of the other guys like sort of cool weapons, so they were just like, I guess he gets like spinny scythes and a little like cat claw, and also the ability to like kill people with, yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll get to that bit, but
yeah, no, it's like he has spinning scythes, he has like a weird claw in his hand, and he's called Yanagi the Poisoner, and he can create vacuums with his hand that can break brick walls. And the next time we see him, in the next episodes that he shows up, he doesn't use any of that, and he's got a new gimmick. He has like 8 different things. It's ridiculous.
That's bad writing. Bad character design. Stick to one gimmick. Like, he had the General Grievous thing with like spinning the sides around, like it's all quick. Gardner Grievous.
Come on. Not here, man.
Your lightsabers will make a fine addition to my collection.
And so Katsumi sort of punches him in the hand, steals his lighter, knocks all of the gasoline onto Dorian, and then lights him on fire. Now, this fire goes on for quite a while.
Right, old man? We'll agree to disagree, I guess.
Now, I'm not a doctor, but so I should get a second opinion. Vishal, do you think that the amount of damage that Dorian took from being on fire for like 20 seconds was more or less than you expected?
He had like what's the worst degree of burn again? Like first degree burns. Well, either way, he had little to no damage. He had some marks on him, but he was standing. At one point, he was just standing there listening to everybody with just like, I don't know. He was just like a frame of just Santa Claus standing there, and I was like, "Are you not like hurt?" Or also,
I take more damage than him when I go out in the sun.
Yeah, exactly. Instant sunburn.
He's being driven, Dorian, to some, I don't know exactly what the location was. I'm going to say some unknown location, I guess, to him. And he's being followed by like what is possibly the largest traffic jam of all time, just caused by members of this dojo. Like, I think I remarked earlier to Steve that like this like you think they could have like had a system of like carpooling or like taking transit or something. Like, imagine being the one person on that highway following them who's not trying to get Dorian.
Yeah, you're just like, where are we going?
Or can you imagine being in like you do like one of those like Uber shares, and then you get the one with Dorian, and just like you all of a sudden have like millions of cars following you to some random place.
Yep, and he meets a very jovial little clown. Can you walk me through what happens there, Jeff?
So I recently we watched Top Gun Maverick, and there's some online theories floating around about that, where like maybe a lot of it is a dream or hallucination after kind of like a near-death experience. And Dorian walks into this and just meets a clown. Like, all the lights turn on, and then there's this clown.
An honor and a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Dorian. I'm Ashida, the manager. I run this here place.
And the clown is not afraid of Dorian, despite being maybe a third of his size, maybe less by total body mass. I assume this clown, like, he says he runs the thing, right? He says he owns the fairground. So my theory is this guy does not exist. Dorian just sees the lights come on and he's like, oh, maybe there's a fun little clown for me to play with. Because what happens directly after meeting the clown is he takes the clown's hand and walks around the park and then goes on some rides without the clown. And we don't see the clown again for, I believe, the rest of the series.
Yeah, no, I
Is
think
that
you're right.
accurate?
I don't think we're ever going to see the clown again. I just rewatched the episode. He doesn't come back this episode. I don't think he's. Yeah. I think he might be onto something.
Yeah. So I don't want to give too much away, but I think maybe that was just a clown-based hallucination.
I hope you like amusement parks.
Oh, I'm planning to have the time of my life tonight.
And how old are they? I couldn't tell if they were 13, 17, 23.
Baki is a high schooler. I think he's either 16 or 18, somewhere in that range.
Okay, so we hope she's probably the same age as well.
Kozue is 10.
No.
I'm kidding.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I think Kozue is the same year as Baki.
Oh, I hope so. Oh my god. Now I would understand why she wasn't breathing. She'd be terrified.
And I did notice when he went in, he sort of slides open the sliding door just a fraction. And then he sees some debris on the floor or something, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then instantly destroys his own front door. You know, it's like you were already sliding it open. You had the motion down.
Yeah.
A couple more seconds of that, the door is wide open. You can walk through, even, you know, with your larger than usual frame. But he just absolutely loses it instantly. And I assume those are pretty well made, and he just makes mincemeat of it.
Honey, I'm home.
So this episode is, as I was saying, it's the thrilling conclusion to Dorian's subplot. It was funny that I was debating on a few people to bring on this episode because I want to get my mom on the podcast at some point. And the first shot of the episode is Dorian barfing because he got punched so hard in the gut. And then he pretty much immediately breaks his hand, and I was just like, this isn't the one. Hey, Editor Steve here. When I was doing this episode, I realized that when Kozue comes home, we actually have a scene that passes the Bechdel test, so I'm going to play the scene in its entirety. Just throwing this in here.
I'm home, Mom.
There you are. Something to eat?
I already ate.
Okay. Good night, then.
And, like, there's so many different types of bottles in there.
Yeah.
Like, it's, like, the fanciest, like, wine bar in Toronto that I've never been to before and, like, looked in the window of. Like, it's, like, that level of fridge.
It's like, it sounds like one of those old Stefan sketches on SNL. It's like, the hottest club in New York is in an Arizona State prison. Talk to Mr. Oliver and you can get the finest Japanese sake.
Yeah, would you go hang out there?
Oh my god.
Like, if you were you right now and it's like, oh, tomorrow fly you out to Japan. It's for
No,
work
no.
reasons.
Well, first of all, it's in Arizona, but he
they're-
flew to
Oh,
Arizona.
wait, because they're in the U.S.
Yeah. No, because as much as I like Mr. Oliver, any Baki character has a good chance of just beating me up for some reason. I would not trust it. Also, who am I hanging out with at this prison? What am I going to talk to Mr. Oliver about? Weightlifting?
You just, like, give different, like, analogies for, like, his looks. Like, you know, and your leg, like, it looks like a lamb shank.
Is that even a compliment?
I don't know.
Leg looks like a lampshade. That's why he beats me up.
Who told you you could put your pants back on? Huh?
Who told you you could put your pants back on?
And he complies. He's like, oh yeah, who did tell me?
Da. Yeah.
Nobody, I guess. I guess I'll just do it this way.
In Soviet Russia, we
Oh
take
my
off
God.
pants before a fight.
He also has no true crevice. There is not a hole or a crack on his butt.
It looks like a scar tissue. It looks like he was born without an ass crack, so like he had to karate chop it, and then it just healed poorly. Oliver says one of my favorite lines.
Judo. Ever practiced judo, Mr. Oliver? Nah, never tried it myself. But if I did, I'm pretty sure I'd snag a gold medal within a day or two of learning how to do it.
Which is completely true. Gold medalists in this universe exist only to die to martial artists. Samita, a few episodes back, described Baki as the most woke show of all time, and I think it lives up to it in this episode.
I think you're right.
I wrote down in my notes, Kozue, the feminist icon, kicks Hanayama in the shin, and she has a little monologue about, I guess I shouldn't call it a little monologue, but she has a monologue about how, she just finds basically the plot of Baki really stupid, and she's tired of people fighting each other, and why don't we just spend more time with the people we love?
Kozue really stands up for herself, because throughout the whole scene, Hanayama's only referring to Baki as if Kozue isn't an important character. And she's pretty much looking the audience in the face and the animators in the face, saying, I am an important character. I really matter here. And the animators respond by not remembering what she looks like in any single frame.
Yeah,
they animate her
so
as
true.
a 14-year-old girl, a 22-year-old person, like a 32-year-old woman. It changes by the instant. Her chin changes, her whole
I think they
facial
were just
structure.
having so much fun drawing female characters. They were like, let's bang them all out right now. Yujiro basically just talks about celibacies for wimps. Make sure to do it. Kozue.
Oh my god, that was
make
so
sure to
weird.
also do it.
Can I talk about that? Because that was like, as a woman, I was just like, this is
empowering.
No!
Miss Kozue, was it? Blossom into the woman you were meant to be. Take it till you can't take it anymore. You must be insatiable.
It was literally like, he looks at her. Firstly, he goes, Kozue, is it? And I'm like, wait, this is the first time they're meeting? And he's...
Well, they met when Kozue got kidnapped.
Okay,
so
but...
Yujiro has now only met Kozue when she's in her underwear.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten electrocuted, Steve?
You know what? Briefly, I was at some sort of science-y thing, and I was taking apart a camera, and the camera battery zapped me.
Whoa.
So definitely less than the 20,000 volt taser, but it just my hand sort of felt numb for a second, type of thing. I think the taser thing would be fun though, because then you get to go whoa, 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 like they do in the show.
Yep, you can definitely make those sounds. Hopefully your heart doesn't stop.
I mean, we sort of touched on this. The doctor's there now, and the doctor has some commentary about how in this author's world, doctors and martial artists are the two pillars of society of equal respect to each other. Doctors study to heal the body, while martial artists study to destroy the body.
Sounds like some lobbying groups got together and were like, I know, we'll keep healing people and you keep sending them.
Big Pharma and Big Show teamed up.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, so let's jump into the episode then. Seems like you have a better understanding than most of what Baki was going to be. So the episode starts, we continue where the conversation ended last week, where Mr. Tokugawa and Kunimatsu, or the Crypt Keeper, as I was calling him, are talking about poison, and specifically how Ryuko Yanagi uses poison. So I just threw a bunch of names at you. Don't worry about using those. But Ryan, can you tell me how the first conversation about poison goes?
Poison? Wait, hold on a second.
Oh no.
This is episode 20, right?
Yeah.
Of the first season?
Yeah. Saga.
I don't even recall a single conversation about poison in the episode.
What does the episode start with for you? What's the first thing in your notes?
There was a fight between Baki and a dude named Toba.
Oh no.
That was episode 20. I swear, I watched it this morning.
You didn't use Netflix, did you?
No, I didn't. I didn't
Oh
use
my
Netflix.
god. That's so funny. You watched the original Baki from like the year 2000.
Oh, is that not what I'm supposed to be watching? I didn't know there was a remake.
No, yeah, we're watching Baki.
Oh, this is really awkward then.
Yeah. Like this is what I mean when I say like this is a sex scene drawn and animated by a man who only draws men fighting each other. Like there's no romantic lens to this. I honestly thought it had more of a horror movie vibe for the first half.
I can't believe it. This is it. It's finally happening. Is she crying?
Yeah, there's a pretty prolonged shot of Baki on top of Kozue, and like the only thing really that's moving is like Baki's back a little bit, which it's just they're just covering her up because they don't know how to animate her.
There was one line I wanted to bring up. So I actually listened to it in the subtitle to see what it was. So when Baki slaps Yanagi, in the subtitle it says, "You better grit your teeth."
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. So in the English version, instead Baki says,
"You two like getting bitch slapped?"
"You two like getting bitch slapped?" And then I thought that was
awesome.
An interesting choice. Instead, we get a character who's never been mentioned on the show up until now. 21 episodes in, but he is from the old series.
Okay.
It's Gaia, the master of environmental warfare.
Yeah, I was like, damn, what is environmental warfare?
It's mostly just throwing sand at people.
Yeah, and then I found out, I was like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
It really makes you feel for Sikorsky at the end. Is he meant to be like a bad guy?
Oh my god. Yes, Sikorsky is a death row inmate who broke out of jail and came to Japan to taste defeat.
Oh, is he trying to like repent for his sins or something?
No, gosh, no. Oh my god. The first thing he did when he got here is he just threw dumbbells at a guy's face and then peed on him. And then he kidnaps Baki's girlfriend. Like he's a monster.
But no, he just kind of like submits, and then the moral of the story is like, yeah, you really suck, and then the pain comes worse when you wait for it. It's like, oh my god.
The moral of the
That was
story is
opposite of the character arc.
the moral of the story is you should have gave up earlier. Like,
It's really fucked up.
also the fact that like Baki and Kozue, like they're what is it? They had sex a few episodes back, but like they're in a relationship. Like how has it taken this long for Kozue to notice that he has lost this much weight? Like, I don't know.
Well, they hadn't had soup until now.
I see.
She didn't have anything to cry over because like she wanted the soup to go well and it didn't, so she like lost it.
What if they went to the doctor and the doctor was just like, he's actually fine. He told me that he hasn't been eating your soup, and so he's just lost 50 pounds over the last few weeks.
Honestly, you could just have the exact same scene of Kozue running away from the hospital in tears. It would be the same. You could just reuse that scene. She'd have the same reaction.
It's a miracle, in fact, that he's still alive.
After eating that horrible soup.
What did the big guy say? Why did you wait so long? What does that mean?
But the tone he said it into, why, Baki, did you wait so long?
Does that mean that he waited too long and the poison has gone too far? Or why did you wait so long to come back to, like, away from high school and all of it?
He was lonely in the woods.
Like that he wasn't serving his purpose. And by coming back there where all the skeletons were, presumably of
apes.
Oh, I didn't catch that part.
Yasha Zaru Jr., a member of the race of mysterious apes that inhabited the Hida Mountains in ancient times. Yasha's parents were slaughtered by Yujiro Hanma. Baki was enraged and swore to avenge their deaths. After that, a bond developed between them.
All right, this is my favorite category. Best female representation. We've got Kozue, Kozue's mom, the lady who goes "aw" when Baki and Kozue kiss, and women in the background shots at the underground arena. And honestly, this wasn't a joke. This was my attempt at getting 4 people in this category.
Mom.
Kozue's mom. Okay.
I don't think she's a great mother, but I think she's the best representation for women, just to be clear.
That's fair.
She does like let her daughter get kidnapped and just run around with like guys who could tear her. Like, I don't know.
All right. And Phil?
I'm gonna give it to Kozue simply for her glow up after that.
But more to the point, the only show I really watched, I binge watched Downton Abbey, if you can believe it. And
was it your choice, or was somebody with you who wanted to watch that show?
So what happened was Katie asked me to go to the movie when it first came out, and you know, if you can buy popcorn at a movie, I'll go watch almost anything. And so I watched that, and you know, it didn't really interest me that much. And they made another, and I went to that. And then just one day I watched episode 1, and it is so well written and so well acted. It's just a soap opera, but it's a really fun one. Especially Maggie Smith is spectacular. So everybody else has probably already watched it, but those few who haven't, I give it 2 thumbs up, and I'm the least likely person to have ever watched that show. And then I
agree. I think everybody who's listening to the Baki podcast has watched Downton Abbey, but still a good recommendation.
You wouldn't think the Venn diagram actually would have much of an overlap on those two.
Long time no see. Eh, Mr. Ogre? Muhammad Ali Jr., all grown up at last. I was a big fan of your father's.
And then we get a very sensual scene of Baki lifting his foot up to his face and sucking his foot to get all of the poison out.
There's nothing I can do except stand here and watch.
Did you enjoy that, Vishal?
Yeah, and instead of Kyle Lee going into, try to end the match there and then, he decides to just wait and watch. And Baki even makes a point of it, being like, so like you just let me suck my own blood to get rid of the poison.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Have you just been waiting for me? What a gentleman you are.
Kaio Yo. Okay, so Kaio Yo, I guess, like one punches Dorian, and he just falls. That's pretty much all that happens in the fight, right?
If you subtract about 95 punches, yeah.
Okay.
He also spits out his candy during the fight.
Yeah, okay. I must have been a little bit distracted while I was watching this scene. I must have looked away or something. But he punches him. Next thing you know, and then I guess he spits out his candy. And so what I remember is Biscuit Oliver has candy. So I guess he spit out his candy, and then you're telling me Biscuit Oliver put it in his own mouth and then put it back in Dorian's mouth?
Yes, it was that odd, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. Biscuit Oliver, from what I could tell, put it in his mouth to clean the dirt off it.
Oh.
I also want to really comment on, like, this Kaio is the lamest Kaio. Like, we've seen a guy get his face ripped off. We've seen a guy get, like, pulverized into, like, a speck. And this guy has, like, a dislocated shoulder. And it's like, he's out of there. Can't get back after that. It's like, okay.
But Biscuit Oliver decides that he's going to copy his opponent's fighting technique.
Oliver's doing hand pocket! Hey, wow. You're onto something here. This feels pretty good.
What did you think of Oliver's hand pocket?
It was interesting. It felt very mocking at first.
No way! He's mocking Shoboon! Get him, Shoboon!
Well, that brings up an interesting question. So, Muhammad Ali Jr. is obviously supposed to be Muhammad Ali, but Muhammad Ali at this point in time was like 70 years old. And he answers the question of how would a boxer do in a martial arts tournament? Now, I want to get your thoughts on, let's say that Phil Mickelson Jr. joins the tournament. He's in his physical prime, and he has turned golf into a martial art. He uses his feet. He uses a big wind-up to hit people very hard. Maybe he has a club. Do you think that, just like Muhammad Ali Jr. can enter this tournament and do well, that a professional golfer, do you think they'd have the same advantage?
Not at all. Unless they had a club in their hand, and they better make a real good shot with it the first time. Not at all. Can't compare those athletes, Steve. Although most golfers would like to think that they're athletes, but no.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Baki, come and get your soup.
Friday.